How's it going, you guys? It's Scott with Everyday Home Repairs, and thanks for stopping by our Everyday Home Repair Help channel. Specifically, we're fielding questions from viewers, and each week I'm taking 3 questions and giving at least my 2 cents on these repair and maintenance questions to get you started off on the right foot. If you want to submit your own question, you can look right below this video. You'll see a link to our form. That's where you submit your questions, and those are the questions I'm reviewing each week. And don't forget, if you need pictures to describe your question to give me a better idea of what's going on so I can give very specific feedback, pictures are definitely recommended, and that will increase the likelihood that I'll be able to pick your question. So let's kick it off with question number 1 coming from Chris in South Carolina on the topic of roof and gutters. The question reads, I would like to improve my roof drainage. No matter how many times we have the drains cleaned out, they always get filled with branches. I've been skeptical about ads about drain covers, but I really can't think of any other proactive way to take care of an issue. This is a classic problem. This is a problem I've faced a lot in the past, especially with my rental properties, because I'm not there, so I do need to be a little bit more proactive to make sure my gutters aren't just filling up. Now, depending on where you're at in the country, here, South Carolina, I know in my area in Illinois, we have a high water table. So we want to really get the water away from our foundation, especially if you have a basement. If you do not, if your gutters get filled up, your downspouts get filled up, then you have waterfalls coming over the side of your gutters, and that means it's going right to your foundation, draining down, and hopefully the tile at the base of your basement can handle all that water and you can get the water out. If not, you get a wet basement, and that happens a lot in my area. So what do we do about it? I got a few props here, so we can look at a side profile of a standard gutter, and then we have a downspout adapter. This one is a little bit smaller than your average downspout. Your downspouts are going to be 2 different sizes predominantly. You'd have a 2-inch by 3-inch downspout. This is the standard one most of us will have, or a 3-inch by 4-inch. This is going to be obviously higher capacity. It's twice the surface area. So just know there is a possibility if you have a roof line that's serviced by a small section of gutter, you might have a small section of gutter and a small downspout. You might be able to upgrade just to give you much more capacity. And I had to do that on one of my rental properties a few years back because one small 10-foot section of gutter was servicing a huge area of roof line. So it just didn't have the capacity. I stepped things up. That fixed my problem. So Chris, you are right. Gutter guards are usually the recommended solution. Sometimes you'll see these universal baskets. You can actually get those a little bit tighter, which will pretty much fit into any downspout. Or then you just have a cage here. Now the problem with this, it's a really temporary solution. So if you have leaves and sticks and mud going along your gutter, it's going to hit this cage, it's going to stop, but then it quickly builds up a dam. So what happens is this dam gets built where then the water is just going to back up in your gutter system, and you're really going to be at the same issue of your downspouts getting clogged up. So it's not really a permanent solution unless you have very few trees around and just really don't have much of an issue in general. Here are a few different examples. This one's just a plastic one with a little bit of mesh on it. And then these get into painted metal where you have this expanded metal design. Some have expanded metal and then flat surfaces where it kind of has a ripple effect, and then some are just simple flat and just that expanded metal. Now overall, I've had good luck with these plastic ones. It's very easy how they go on. You just slip these on, and then it would go up where the shingles would be coming over this backside. So this system is really going to do well for keeping things just out of your gutter while allowing the water to come in. I had this exact design on a rental property for over 10 years. I did no maintenance, and there were quite a bit of trees around. One thing I would caution you on, the cost for materials is very low. Overall, you're looking at about $1 per foot, and below this video, I'll put a link, at least on Amazon. You can see this exact one, but just know you can pick them up at literally any home improvement store if you just want to stop by. But since this lip goes up under your shingles, if you have a new roof, it is best to call your roof installer and just confirm that if you install these gutter guards, it's not going to void your warranty. You need to be careful because sometimes the smallest thing, such as installing gutter guards, can void your warranty. And then if something happens, you need to call in on that warranty and that voids it. I mean, that could be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars that you're out. So just be careful if you have a new roof and make sure to check with your roofer first before installing those yourself. But it's a perfect weekend project and very easy to knock out, especially if you only have a single level home. Question number 2 comes from Tito out of California, and it reads, I have worn out window screens. Should I buy new ones or replace and patch existing screens? Thanks. And thank you, Tito, for actually submitting a picture because this helps a ton for me to understand exactly what condition your screens are in. So if you take a look at the screen, you can see, yeah, this thing is completely worn out, and there's a different types of screening material. This specifically is like a fabric based. So sometimes the beating down sun and just overall weathering of that fabric loosens it up, and then you get this type of phenomena where the screen itself loosens up and it's just not doing its job. So that's the bad news. The good news is this is extremely easy to repair. Now I have 2 different videos that covers this, so let's take a look at our channel. If you just go on YouTube, I want to also show you guys, let's go everyday home repairs, select on that. We will select the channel. We will stop the intro video. Now, you can go to videos or you can just go to the magnifying glass over here on the right-hand side. So if there is a YouTube channel that is really lined up to where you're at, you know, they speak to you in terms of your experience level, they use tools that are kind of within what you have, just know, sometimes it's hard to say, does that channel have this specific topic video? It's hard to find. Unless you do this, unless you go on the channel page and do the magnifying glass, and then it's only searching within that one channel, not all of YouTube. So if I just say screen, I will see these 2 different screen videos that I have out there. One, the bottom screen video is almost exactly your issue, and this is what I would recommend. So you have your frame member here, and then within that frame you have this little piece of cord called a spline. This is actually what holds the screen to the frame. So you can just pry that spline out, carefully remove that, and usually you can reuse that spline. But if you do damage the spline, don't worry, you can go right down the home improvement store, bring a section of that spline, and then get the same size spline and some new screen material. This is an example of exactly what you need. It's 4 foot wide, 25 feet long. So you just lay this out, you roll it over your frame, and then you cut it to length and re-spline your screen. Just remember to get a rolling tool, and this is going to help you roll that spline right back into the frame. Without this rolling tool, it is about 10 times harder. Also, look below this video. I'll give you a few different links to frame kits, to the screen, to the rolling tool, and just know that screens are extremely serviceable. Every home improvement store has an entire section of screen kits, screening materials, whether it's fabric or metal, the rolling tools, additional spline in all different diameters, and then a ton of small components just in case something on your frame broke. You usually can just buy one small piece, repair it, and you're back in business. So Tito, I recommend you watch my video where it's the window screen repair for beginners, and that's going to be exactly what you need to do. Super approachable, just take your time and make sure you get the roller to make it so much easier. And then last up, our 3rd question comes from Jack in Missouri, and it is a paint question. And the question reads, how does a homeowner match and repair cracked, damaged trim paint so it blends together without the repair standing out? This is a good question, and without the repair standing out, sometimes can be a challenge, whether it's trim or wall that you're trying, whether it's your trim or a small blemish in your wall that you're trying to repair. And Jack, thanks for submitting your pictures because this really does help out where we can see it is peeling up. It's peeling up in large chips. And my concern here isn't that you're going to be able to fix this. It's a fairly easy repair. It's that when that's chipping up, if we look at the wood underneath, I'm thinking possibly whoever painted this forgot to prime the wood. So you might have had bare wood and they went right on it with trim paint opposed to priming that surface first. So then when the trim paint, which is usually a much higher quality paint and probably a semi-gloss sheen in this case, that it adheres to the wood. If you just go on with a semi-gloss, especially depending on the brand and quality of paint, it can do exactly what you have going on here. Here, you're gonna have to scrape off all that loose paint. So things are gonna look a little worse before they look better. And then if you do have bare wood, just remember, we need to prime first. So we want to prime that wood surface so the trim paint that we come back on with is actually going to adhere to that wood. Now I use Sherwin-Williams paint, specifically the emerald trim paint in a semi-gloss, and usually I just do the standard extra white. I don't do any tinting or coloring to that white. But the benefit in your case, it looks like you are able to get a fairly large chip. You have one in your hand that might work because you need at least a nickel size paint chip to take that down to Sherwin-Williams and have them color match at the store. Now, if you want to know a lot more about matching your colors, your sheens, and specifically how do we paint or do some touch-up paint on a wall, which can be quite a bit trickier. I did a whole nother video on this, which will walk you through each step and show you a touch-up project at my own house. So you can check out this video right here, and believe it or not, I did not use a paintbrush or a roller for this project, and the results turned out really good. So thanks for joining me this week, and we'll catch you on next week's episode. Take care.